With Super Nintendo games now live on Nintendo Online, are we perhaps just a little bit closer to seeing Geno join the Smash Ultimate roster?
I'm Backrolls,
I'm Mac Fraser.
and we're the Nintendo Nerds.
We're a new comedy and gaming duo here to help you craft and play your way to a better day.
We met in the not-too-distant past during some spirited online Mario Kart, and as it turns out, we share a love for art, gaming, and all things Nintendo.
And we want to share some of that nerdy knowledge with you.
So stick around, because in today's video, we'll be discussing a couple of the games and announcements we saw in September's Nintendo Direct.
So this direct.
Yeah, a lot of people have a lot of feelings about this Direct.
I'll be honest, I enjoyed it. It was not quite what I expected, but I think it's because, it just has to be said that the Direct itself was not quite the accurate representation of kind of what we were led to believe, thinking that Animal Crossing and what was the other one, Pokemon, were going to kind of be featured and front and center to all of this, because we didn't really get a whole lot with those.
Well, they told us it would be Luigi's Mansion and Pokemon were going to be the highlights,
Right.
That's what was kind of baffling about it. I actually feel like I might have had better expectations for the Direct if Animal Crossing had been previously featured. It seems like now on all the Nintendo press footage, it seems like they kind of backpedaled and were like, we weren't talking about Luigi's Mansion as a highlight. But I still think we saw some really great stuff. I think
definitely.
Everybody's got a lot of feelings, and I think it's because Beat 'em Ups brought up a really good point. He did his feelings on this yesterday, and I was watching a recap on it, that we went through such a long drought of Nintendo Directs that we really didn't know what we were supposed to be really looking forward to. And then we got a lot of information this summer, and then a lot of what we got this week was kind of a rehashing of stuff that we'd already known. But with that said, I think there were still a lot of surprises and a lot of really exciting stuff to look forward to, and we'd like to talk about what we're really excited to see, because enough people have talked about how it made them grumpy, and there's enough of that out there on the internet.
Oh, and I absolutely agree. Regardless of, what I kind of expected from this, there was still a lot that I took away from it that made me really happy. Like the first thing, that Overwatch reveal trailer. I have to tell you, I've had a first-person shooter hole in my heart for the last couple years since I kind of stopped playing around with my PS4 and haven't really had access to a Call of Duty, and so I'm hoping this is going to help.
Yeah, you've been getting down on Splatoon 2 finally with us, but that, again, third-person shooters are kind of rampant on the Switch, so Overwatch will be really great to see. Now, we did see from a report from GameXplain that it will be running at 30 frames per second, not at 60 frames per second such as the Xbox or the PS4, but it still runs at 720p handheld and 900p docked. That's pretty impressive to me. I think there's been a lot of ports where it feels like not all the love was taken, and it feels like maybe this is why it took us so long to get Overwatch, because they wanted to make sure that it looked gorgeous. And I'm so excited. I primarily play on the Switch too. I can't wait to get down on Overwatch.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a lot of fun to get into. My first question is, I wonder if there's going to be cross-platform play. I wonder if that's going to be available to us. And just kind of to your point about talking about the ports that are coming to Switch and that have come to Switch in the past of some of these other, AAA games that have hit the Xbox One and hit the PS4 or PC. I think that some of these development studios that have been taking the lead on some of these have done a really good job. I think that Overwatch is looking really good. I played a ton of Rocket League, and I still think, yes, Rocket League looks better on the other consoles, but it looks just fine on the Switch. And the thing is, it's all about the gameplay. It's about making sure the game runs the way that it's supposed to. And one thing that Panic Button did with Rocket League, for example, is they made sure that game ran at a solid 60 frames per second because it's just so fast.
Well, and not to mention that there were some patches to increase performance of Rocket League after its release. They didn't just set it and forget it, so hopefully we'll see some of these ports get that same love.
Well, and considering that we're talking about Overwatch, and how old is this game? A year or 2 years old? Something like that?
Overwatch is now 4 years old. Isn't that crazy to talk about?
Oh my god. Well, the thing is, if they're still talking about bringing it to the Switch, and I'm sure that the player base on Overwatch is still massive, and so it's still worth it for companies to be supporting these games and to be doing updated patches. And again, this is the first foray onto the Switch with something like this, and so I'm sure that they're going to find ways to improve on the gameplay and the stability of the game.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Definitely looking forward to some gyroscope controls, which is more my jam than yours.
No,
But
no, no.
I-
I am most certainly a traditional gamer. Give me a controller, a pro controller, some with control sticks. I don't want to be moving around the room or throwing my Wiimote at the TV. Thank you very much.
Well, you might still be throwing your remote. We haven't played Overwatch yet, so more to come on that.
Further to the ports to switch here, just because it's kind of in the same vein, I think we should talk about Witcher 3. You had mentioned that you were quite happy about this one.
Yeah, I have to say that was one of the standouts for me. It was such a gorgeous looking port. I must say the team has done such a tremendous job. I don't have my notes on the development team in front of me. I'm so sorry, but will provide subtitles to make me not look so silly and uninformed. However, I have to say, it is a gorgeous looking port in an era where some people would be saying, why do you need more of these gigantic sprawling epics when you have Skyrim on the Switch? But I mean, I'm down for another couple 100 hours into another sprawling RPG, because know thyself, you know?
If there's anything that I learned from Breath of the Wild, it's that I actually like these games. I like these open world sprawling games that you can get lost in for hundreds of hours. So, hey,
Yeah,
I might actually get down on this one too.
But you're a real completionist, so proceed with caution. Now, how many hours, we recently were exchanging our hours information. How many hours did you actually put into Breath of the Wild?
It's over 500, but let me remind you that that is 100% completion of my first gameplay, my first playthrough, including all of the Korok seeds and everything, upgrading all of the armor. I played through again on master mode, finished all the side quests, did all that kind of stuff, did not do all the Korok seeds, and then recently played through it again for a third time, again doing all the armor.
Oh
Not all the Korok
sounds
seeds.
so
But yes.
exhausting.
But I really enjoyed it. I still love running around that world. So let's fast forward to Breath of the Wild 2. Let's get going on that. I'm ready to play.
Oh, totally. But we got plenty to talk about, even from just this direct from now to then. There's a lot to
Yes, we
come just in
certainly
2019.
So what's next for you? What are you looking at?
Oh, well, I am really excited to see Return of the Obert making its way to the Switch. Now, when that popped up, we were watching the direct at the same time, and you said, what is this? And I can certainly take the lead in saying that I'm really excited to see Return of the Obert. It is created by Lucas Pope, same creator as Papers, Please. And as soon as people were talking about, even that alone is enough to intrigue people, and I have to say that I'm included on that list. When talking about this experience, it is forming a giant logic puzzle. So you have made your way onto this ship that came into a horrendous incident many years ago, and you as the insurance collector are trying to figure out what happened, and you have this magical compass that allows you to transport yourself to the moment of death of these corpses that you find on the ship. And first off, I'm into a gigantic logic puzzle. That's very much the kind of game I would love to get down on. And in addition to that, it's done in this very low poly, old PC style, that it's all done in black and white, and it's all done 8-bit. So for all of these reasons, I've been watching this game since its discussions and its release a couple years ago on PC, and I've been kind of patiently twiddling my thumbs hoping that it would make its way to Switch. So I'm definitely excited to get down on Return of the Obert.
Was this the first instance in which we were told that it is coming to Switch? Was it announced before or no?
I believe this was a surprise. It was the first I'd heard of it, at least. I'm pretty sure that this was the first. You got a good surprised gasp out of me when I saw it, at least.
That's very true.
I'm probably the only person in existence who was like, yes, Obert, and not about Terry, King of Fighters.
Oh, Terry Bogard. So Smash Ultimate, I guess that's what we're talking about now. So
Sure.
Banjo-Kazooie got released.
We got to play around with Banjo a little bit, and excited to figure out my new main, because I didn't have a main. I was patiently waiting for him to arrive, and his side B's real nasty, so I'm looking forward to the possibilities.
I have to be honest, I played around with him a little bit last night. I took him online and all this. I really enjoy him as a character. I think that his moveset is really intuitive. I think it's a good representation of the character. That side B is a little powerful, but the truth is, you know me, I'm a little salty about the hero. I think he is a little too powerful. I
Oh,
think
he's
that
way too powerful.
They reined it back for Banjo. I don't think Banjo is a broken character, and I think that he's a great addition to the Smash roster.
Yeah, I mean, you are someone who can forever find a compliment to someone else as someone who kicks my in Smash all the time. You're still like, but you're really great with zoning characters. And I have to say, I do like zoning characters, and so with Banjo having the B move and the down B, the egg missiles and the egg grenade, and I'm not gonna get the names right. I'm very excited for chucking some grenades at people and getting a little familiar with that.
I look forward to our matches in the future to see what kind of strategies you come up with.
You're gonna love my spinning neutral airs.
Oh my god, so much.
Oh, I was so excited to see he had a spinning neutral air, and you were so mad. And I also, we should just note that it was just extra cruel. Like, Mario always has a tough go of it when these DLC characters come out. Like, there was the victory pose of Piranha Plant is literally just owning Mario, and then after this, like, the whole demonstration, like, we don't need two Banjos and one beating up on the other. One Banjo's too cute. Let's just beat the crap out of Mario. Max main.
he's just gonna stand there and do nothing while the Banjo beats the crap out of him. Yeah, it's not nice.
I wonder if they're gonna beat up Mario if Terry's gonna beat up Mario too. I hope so.
I hope not. I hope not. But Terry. So, Fatal Fury is the fighting game I think it was from,
Fatal
right?
Fury. Terry's appeared in a lot of fighting games for SNK. So as far as an SNK representation, when we saw the leak happen from Nintendo, from the source, and it really seemed apparent that this was going to be real, it seemed like that was the heaviest speculated character. And I have to agree that makes sense.
It does.
If you're a CEO at SNK, there's not going to be another character that you're vying for as hard as Terry. He really just epitomizes that series, that era, all of the above. So it definitely makes sense.
I agree with that. I think that, you and I have had conversations in private kind of about this, and, unfortunately this DLC character doesn't speak to me specifically, but I'm sure that it will speak to a lot of people just like the hero spoke to a lot of people.
Definitely.
The thing is, though, that I kind of feel that maybe this character should have been female. I think that a female character would have been a good representation in Smash, and someone that I've kind of leaned to, and I get that we've got Street Fighter representatives already, but Chun-Li would have just been perfect. Yes,
that's what I've been saying. I've been wanting Chun-Li ever since they've been speculating another Capcom character, and I feel like, just to highlight the point of the similarities, we should just get down on some team matches when he comes out of just Ken and Terry. Like, not that they're gonna play the same, but like, come on.
It's a little similar.
To introduce new characters, I definitely think it makes sense to talk about Ken as an Echo Fighter because you guys want to push Echo Fighters. However, there must have been a point where Ken and Terry were on the table as development characters at the same time, and it totally would have made sense to just say, like, maybe not Ken, maybe Chun-Li. I would have lost my mind. Like, Chun-Li totally makes sense. Her side B would have made sense. Her projectile makes sense. Because her projectile was introduced on the Super Nintendo, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. My fiance is gonna kill me if I got that Street Fighter knowledge wrong because we have a cabinet in our house.
But even aesthetically, like, you look at someone in the features of a Terry and a Ken, they're very similar. Whereas if you look at someone like Chun-Li, like, she is iconic. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Coming from Street Fighter and being around as long as she has. And
just her rapid fire is her flutter kick. I feel like it makes sense. It just writes itself, and maybe that'll still happen. Capcom could get more characters, but I agree with you. Female characters would have been a really nice representation. It seemed like the leaks were kind of spread rampant before this Nintendo Direct, and so it seemed pretty obvious, like, we're not gonna get an Overwatch character in Smash. It's just the leak was Overwatch is coming to Switch. Mm-hmm. That's fine, I get it, but there's so many great female characters in Overwatch. Like, not even knowing that much about the series, I'm like, just watching gameplay of Overwatch, I think there's so many characters you could make a case for. Like, what about Tracer? What about Diva? There's possibilities there. But Blizzard's also part of an American company. They're in Irvine, California, and we haven't seen any American character as a DLC. Oh no, I take that back. I'm wrong. Banjo was Rare, but Banjo, I feel like, is like, if you're gonna make any American character, that kind of makes sense.
Well, especially because Banjo's got such a history on Nintendo. The thing about this, with regards to DLC and talking about possibility of more, so obviously the speculation is going to continue because we found out yesterday that
we're getting
more. They didn't say how many more, but they said that they're going to do more. So you know what? Hopefully some of these we'll see some more the female representation in this game through those. Who knows what's to come from the last fighter in this first batch of fighters that's coming, whenever that might be in the next few months. Let's get Terry on board first. Yeah. So other than that for Smash, I can't really think of anything right now. I like the Banjo-Kazooie level. I think it looks cool.
You're gonna get motion sick though.
Yeah, that's true. That was the one thing that I did say when we were watching it, is that when it was turning, I was like, oh, and I don't get motion sickness. I was like, oh, this is making me dizzy.
Well, you're not the first person to say that. I was watching some impressions, and a lot of people kind of immediately remarked like, oh, that kind of makes my head spin. So I don't really see the level I don't see Spiral Mountain making it into tournament play anytime soon. It seems like our Dragon Quest level seems to be the one of our new levels that seems to be more geared toward competitive, kind of like the Animal Crossing level is from Smash 4.
Yes. So Dragon Quest. We got like another trailer. It was basically an announcement trailer of here's a little bit more gameplay. There's a demo on the eShop. I haven't tried it yet. I'm hoping to get down on that soon to give it a try and see what exactly it is all about, and if I'm actually going to buy this game when it comes out at the end of the month. Yeah, there wasn't too much to say about that one, I don't think.
No, I think we've already covered it from our summer coverage of E3, and I think you're still on the same boat. You definitely want to give it a try, and if you're curious about it, it is important to note that the demo does carry over your progress. So if you decide that you want to give it a try and you're into the demo, then good news, you can continue on from there.
We got a little bit more information about Luigi's Mansion yesterday.
Yeah, we got the confirmation of something you had speculated on previously, which turned out to be true, that we're going to get some world-oriented floors. We're going to have a pyramid inside a hotel, as the voiceover was
I thought that looked so cool. I'm really excited.
It does look cool. I agree. Yeah. Oh, gosh.
And a pirate ship?
And a pirate ship. I think it's going to be a really delightful single-player experience, in addition to some co-op possibilities. I'm very curious to see just how two-player the main story could be if you want it to be.
Oh god, imagine if you could go through the whole thing 2 players. That would be great.
Well, it seems like you can definitely control Guigi from a second controller, but I think the other question is it going to be kind of like Astral Chain, where that just doesn't really make sense? Because the 2-player on Astral Chain, while a tremendous game, it is magnificent, and I'm really enjoying my playthrough. 2-player makes absolutely no sense on that game.
It's unfortunate when second player capabilities kind of get shoehorned in just for the sake of saying, hey, guess what? This game allows for 2 people to play.
It's since the era of like Super Mario Galaxy. Haven't you ever wanted to shoot star bits? Now you can.
Just wag that Wiimote around as fast as you can. I'm kind of hoping that Luigi works as like a whole second character who can do the obviously has a little bit more different mechanics to offer, but still can work as a primary playable character through the game if you were to play co-op.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that all the mini-games they're featuring can be played online, because obviously you and I love to get down on some online gaming, and yep. I just need these mini-games to not be a Mario Party story. Super Mario Party, years later, no patch. Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, but it's fine. We're here to talk positivity about yesterday's Direct.
So what's next?
So let's talk about Pokemon. Now, there's some people were really upset about curry on rice. You know, I'm not mad about curry on rice. It's just a cooking system, you know?
Yep.
But like I said, I think it was just setting out the wrong expectations for this Direct. To tell us we're going to get new information in 40 minutes of Luigi's Mansion and Pokemon, and we got about 3.5 on Pokemon, so we didn't get a lot. We got some cute new designs.
Well, being the nerds that we are, we really kind of talked about, we kind of thought, okay, we're going to get second evolutions today of the starters, and probably a few more Pokemon, maybe a little bit more of the world. But yeah, they gave us a couple more Pokemon, but we didn't see more of the starters. We saw some of the Pokemon camp there, which kind of reminds me of that Pokemon refresh from Sun and Moon. Mm-hmm. I like the idea of being able to visit other camps, though. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of what that adds to the game, in all honesty, to be able to visit your friends' camps and what it means to have your Pokemon interact with each other.
Yeah, now, I know the competitive Pokemon community is pretty upset that they're not able to bring over their Pokemon from previous iterations, but there is one thing that I thought was kind of interesting about Cramorant, that the kind of silly... He looks a little bit derpy, but I kind of love him. So I really loved the mechanic that it's like you hit Surf and then he picks up a fish in his mouth and then that becomes like Fish Missile. I'm wondering just how many Pokemon are going to have these unique mechanics that they haven't really let us in on yet. Like, the customization is going to go a lot further than just being able to change your jacket and your shirt at the same time. It seems like... I'm hoping that they're keeping us in the dark a little bit about this and just slow drip feeding that there's going to be... As someone who hasn't really gotten into competitive Pokemon online, even though you're not able to port your Pokemon over, it seems like they're trying to introduce a lot of really fun combat mechanics.
Well, over the years, I think they have really done a pretty decent job of getting Pokemon away from just being the rock, paper, scissors that it was at the beginning, especially with the, I can't remember exactly what they call them, but I think it's the special abilities that Pokemon have. Like, if you look at Wishy-Washy from Sun and Moon, when they had their singular form and then the schooling form, and the schooling form was very different, and it provided different opportunities to fight, and it changed up the battles a little bit more.
I loved Aegislash from X and Y. When you evolved, you went into the offensive, defensive. I love these, like, the niche Pokemon with the specialized abilities, and so I'm hoping there's a lot of those to be found.
You also love the other Pokemon that was announced.
Oh, Polteageist! I think that's such a cute idea. I love ghost Pokemon, and I mean, that's from having originally played Blue when it came out. I just always have a soft spot in my heart for ghost types, even though they're a lot more susceptible in the more current combat systems. I love ghost Pokemon, so I'm definitely looking for more haunted British things.
It definitely makes sense to have a teapot as one of the Pokemon. It is very representative of the area they're trying to create here in the Galar region.
Well, it's making me think I could make like a grumpy stoner tea party worth of Pokemon. Snorlax shows up to talk with Polteageist, and along comes the Weezing with his long top hat, and then things got real weird.
They should have named they should have called Polteageist the gossip Pokemon.
Spill the tea.
It's going around spilling all the tea. What other points do you have to make about this direct? Anything else that stood out to you?
I have to say, it keeps catching my eye, and so I think it's worthy of note that I'm going to be paying attention to Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games this time.
It looks like it could be a lot of fun. It
looks like it could be, and I've never paid attention to a Mario and Sonic game. I know these have been coming out for quite a while now. I think since the Wii, for over a decade. Probably somewhere around 06, and someone, I hope, properly fact-checks me on that and tells me a little bit more about what to love about the Mario and Sonic franchise. Because I think if people didn't like them, they wouldn't be still making them at this point, you know? But hey, we're getting a story mode, we're getting the retro games. These are things that were previously revealed in trailers that I've been watching, but I think Nintendo's trying to be like, no, really, guys, it's gonna be good, and I'm kind of thinking that maybe it might be.
Oh yeah, it looks like it could be, especially if you have other people to play with.
Yeah, and then once again, I already shouted out The Witcher. That one stood out to me as a beautiful looking port, and a game I should know more about, because lots of people have loved it for a long time now, so I should get down on it.
I made a note here about Farming Simulator 20 with lots of exclamation points, because obviously that's something I'm going to play.
You're going to get down? You're going to get down on Farming Simulator?
No, I'm sure that there's lots of people who will enjoy that, but you know what?
Well,
for me.
Once again, it maybe not be for you or me, but if it's still being made on Switch, that means somebody's buying it.
And it's the 20th iteration. Which means
really?
There have been 19 before.
There have been...
I would assume that might also be the year. It might be the fact that it might be one of these NBA.
Yeah, it's an NBA thing.
2K20 kind of.
Maybe we're gonna go find the first one and see how far we've come.
Oh, do you think it would stack up today against something like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing? I feel like those might have a little bit more to offer than an old farming simulator game.
We ranked the top 20 farming simulators of 2020.
Oh my goodness. the last thing that they showed in the Direct yesterday was that the Xenoblade Definitive Edition.
Yeah,
that's coming.
we got a one more thing, and it wasn't maybe the most thrilling one more thing that we've seen since previous iterations. Sorry to get shady on it, but it looks gorgeous. But it's a port of a game that's going to be 8 years old when it comes out. But that being said, I've now been trying to look at this from the lens of people who love the game, and there are a lot of people who screamed when they saw this news. So I need to think of it from the lens of people who played Kingdom Hearts when they saw that remaster. I think, because that's the way I reacted when I saw that. I think Shulk made his way into Smash because people love the character, and you got down more on Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So
yes, I played 2. I think by the time Xenoblade came out for the Wii, I was kind of over the Wii, or I wasn't really playing it that much at the time. I think I was a lot more invested into my PS3 at the time, and so I was looking for JRPGs there as opposed to on the Switch. I've heard really good things about Xenoblade. I'll be honest, because I haven't played that game, I don't love Shulk as a character. Maybe that will change if I were to play the game.
I think it's because you don't love his Smash taunts, and they're not great. Let's be real, they're not. I'm really feeling it was a meme for a reason. It was a meme for a reason. He was just a photoshopped little Mac, you know. So I think people went in with the wrong perceptions of him from a Smash perspective. I'm kind of willing to go into, but I'll bring up a really good point. You are someone who has speculated and said openly that you want Sora in Smash, and I think that'd be a great character choice for Smash. But he's kind of annoying, dude.
No, not.
And so he's kind of annoying. And his taunts probably wouldn't be the most pleasing to someone who knew him from only Smash.
My friends are my power.
Yeah. If
my
that was
friends are my power.
He would just keep, he would get memes to death over that. Oh my God, you're so right. That is exactly what he'd say.
It is. That would be the.
He'd be kind of. Well, also, speaking of the meme characters, we didn't talk about Sans making it into Smash. What?
Oh no, we didn't. Yes. Might not be an original character, but I feel like people are going to be really happy about that one.
People are going to be really happy about that, and I think we're going to see a lot more Mii Gunners online, and that just kind of breaks my heart because I really like Samus, and Samus is just not as good as Mii Gunner, and it hurts me to admit that. It hurts me to admit that.
So do we have anything else we want to go over before we decide to finish this up?
We had one last speculation that's not live yet. We were hoping to do a little bit of recording and playing as we went.
Oh, yes.
Super Nintendo Online has finally made it, and I have just discovered before we started recording that there's so many Super Nintendo games that Mac has never played.
I never owned a Super Nintendo.
He never owned a Super Nintendo, America, North America, the 20 people that are listening. Are you shocked?
I borrowed one. My uncle had one. I borrowed his with his library of games, but I don't know. I think I got my NES at the end of its lifespan, and my parents bought me that, 2 controllers, and Super Mario Brothers 3, and then I got a couple random games after that. But the Super Nintendo came out shortly after, and we just weren't in a position at that time in my life for my parents to buy me another video game.
I absolutely get that. But Mac hasn't played Chrono Trigger, everyone.
Nope, I have never played Chrono Trigger.
As someone who's talking about story-driven RPGs that he needs to get down on, everyone shout out in the comments below that Mac needs to play Chrono Trigger, and then we can peer pressure him into doing it.
And maybe I'll live stream it.
Do you know the story points of Chrono Trigger?
I know nothing about it.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Well, I look forward to sharing my experiences of Chrono Trigger with you if and when it ever hits Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do some speculating about what we'd like to see on Nintendo Switch Online for Super Nintendo, and as someone who Super Nintendo was my wheelhouse growing up, I'm so excited for the possibilities of what games are coming out soon and what we can jam on together. Surely the Donkey Kong countries are going to be able to be cooperative online play since it was just press select to switch.
Oh, that would be awesome. I will say for this first batch of games that they're revealing, that they're putting out there for Nintendo Online, I like a lot of them. Zelda, Super Metroid, Pilot Wings, Kirby's Dream Course. I'm pretty excited about that one. I know it's nothing special, but I have always enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were really excited for this lineup. I think it was especially because Nintendo Switch Online in its NES iteration, it didn't really, I don't think it released nearly as many, and it could be incorrect in that, but at least if they released as many, it wasn't just title after title after title that I definitely have fond memories of and I'm super excited to get my hands on. I feel like the NES titles were more slow drip.
Yes, I agree.
We're waiting with bated breath just to really get down and see what they've offered up for co-op online play. Even if it's nothing that you dabble in for a long period of time, I think there's a possibility to be having fun in some online Mario Kart together, even in the Super Nintendo iteration. I think that'd be kind of silly and fun.
I think that it's going to be quite an adjustment compared to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which we have played a lot of, but I will definitely go through it and try that with you.
I don't foresee it being 400, 500 hours like you or I have put into Mario Kart
8. No. But I'll still play.
Exactly. I do think there was one game that both you and I want to see, and we kind of hinted at it in our opening lead-in question, is that both you and I really want Super Mario RPG to be added to Super Nintendo Online games. I mean, I know that I'm a broken record about that. We just said that in a video we released last week, but I want Super Mario RPG. Thank you for the 13 games, but I'm going to keep asking until I get it.
Hey, you know what? They made it happen on the SNES Mini, so I don't think that there's going to be any problems. It's going to make its way to Nintendo Online eventually. That is a game that I can return to over and over and over again. So, and honestly, I actually have a friend that I spoke to recently, and we were talking about his Nintendo Switch purchase. And honestly, he has always been kind of a Nintendo head, but he hasn't had as much time to play video games in the last couple of years. He's got a family now, and he said, you know what, like one of the biggest reasons that I bought my Switch is because I was looking forward to playing Super Nintendo games on a current generation console that I could take around with me.
Totally.
And that was one of the biggest reasons that he bought his Switch. And so I know that he's just going to lose his mind when we finally get word that Super Mario RPG is coming, because it's one of his favorite games of all time. It's one of my favorite games of all time.
Now, do we really think that something like the Super Nintendo making its way finally to the Switch, do we think there's any hope for Geno and Smash?
I don't know, I kind of think that there's a possibility now, because the thing is, before, when they were talking about the DLC characters and reasons why, like, Rex and Pyra from Xenoblade 2 weren't making their way into Smash, it was because, oh, you know, like, all this planning was done before some of these games even happened, and blah, 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 and they have reasons of this, that, and the other for specific characters. Well, if you're gonna add even more characters after the end of these 5, you clearly decided to do that after the initial planning was done, and given the amount of support from the fan base that has come for some of them, like Waluigi, which I'm not gonna get behind, but that's a topic for another day, there's a good possibility, I think, that
a Mario Party level would make sense in Smash, Mark.
It would. But in any case, like I was saying, I think there is a possibility that we could see Geno, or we could see a Waluigi coming in the future now that they've decided to do more DLC characters.
Yeah, it's just a question of like how many more are we? I think it's either 3 or 5 in our next season.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too.
I would be surprised if it was less than that, and people just kind of like things in 3s. 3s are pleasing. Yeah, but I mean, I could see them just trying to keep going with another full season of characters, but I also just really hope that Sakurai takes a break. We were rather alarmed during the demonstration of Banjo, where he was talking about everyone was the saddest soul of all.
He looks so tired.
Please take a vacation. Cram is not good for anybody, and we really want you to take a vacation.
We appreciate everything that you do for us, Sakurai, but take a break. Oh, actually, talking about the Nintendo heads in the Direct, I was telling you before we started here, I like Shinya Takahashi. I think he's great, but I want to know where Yoshiaki Koizumi is at in all of these Directs. I miss him.
No one says there's one more thing like him.
No, and he just brought an energy to the Directs that I always really liked.
Yeah, well, and we think overall, we think that the Direct should have set up some different expectations, but there were still wonderful things to look forward to throughout the year. And we got great surprises. We got Banjo, we got Super Nintendo, we got lots of stuff to play.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
So, sound off below. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the Nintendo Direct. Did it surprise you? Was there anything you were really looking forward to? Was Terry really a shock after the SNK leak? Maybe not, but we want to hear what you thought.
So folks, thank you so much for listening. As always, we hope you leave this video ready to pick up a Pro Controller, a paintbrush, or a pen. I'm Mac Fraser.
I'm Backrolls, and this has been the Nintendo Nerds.